Hey everyone, this is Hugh and welcome to the Yarden. We're doing a quick little demonstration of a project that my buddy Owen saw me doing. Owen said, "Oh no, you got to let me film this, get it on YouTube." So shout out to my cameraman for finding my yard work so interesting. He runs over here to record it.
Exactly.
I have two asparagus beds. I have one here and one over here. This one is the most productive of my asparagus beds, but it's only in about the second year. I think in the video we did the other day, I mentioned, because Owen stepped on one. So this is an asparagus that you let it go from a spear and it makes a plant like this. So you can see how skinny these spears are.
And you can see why I stepped on one.
Right, but they're really skinny, so you don't want to harvest them and eat them until you get a really nice sized spear coming up, so you don't do anything for the first 3 years. Since these are in the second and third year, I would expect them to be a little bit bigger. I'd expect them to be more productive, so I decided I'm going to add to it. So
you were going to add?
I bought some asparagus to add to my bed to try and increase my production. And wow, I didn't realize just how many were in a package. So I didn't order a package of 5, I ordered 5 packages of 5. So now I've got more asparagus and I know what to do with. So thought I would add some here. You can see I've got an asparagus. This is a nice sized one, so I'm hoping next year it'll be edible. So I figured I'd put some beside it. Started running into tree roots all in this area, so we're going to plan B, and that is we are going to plant the asparagus in a pot. All right, this is the pot I'm going to put the asparagus in. This is a pot that I made a few years ago in order to grow trees. As you can see, I've cut holes in the pot and I lined it with landscape fabric. The idea being that whenever a root hits the landscape fabric, it kind of freaks out and the root stops growing and all these little rootlets grow off of the main root. So you get all these fine little rootlets. So it really increases the density of your root ball. Do that for a few years, then when you're ready to put it in the ground, you've got a root ball that's got just dense roots and rootlets all over it. It makes for a very effective way to transplant trees. I'm thinking asparagus is kind of similar. Asparagus, you really want the roots to develop. You want them to develop year over year. Asparagus is a perennial vegetable. You really don't get good production, for 4, 5, 6 years. So I figured I can probably grow it in this pot. The air root system is going to keep the roots from escaping the pot or going through the bottom. So I'm thinking I'm just going to plant asparagus in this pot and I'll grow asparagus in a pot. Or maybe I'll find a better location somewhere else in the yard.
But for now, while we've got this asparagus that you ordered too many of, let's keep some of it alive and let's put it in a pot.
Exactly. So that's what I'm doing.
All right, fair enough.
All right, check in later, guys.
We'll show you the asparagus hopefully in a couple weeks when it's growing in the pot.
The asparagus experiment.
Exactly. So explain exactly what you're doing here.
I'm making a mound of potting soil to start the asparagus on. I'm going to lay the asparagus over the tops of this mound. something like this. So I'm giving this asparagus sort of a little head start, possibly. And then I'm going to cover this entire thing with soil, of course, but I'm just kind of...
I'm getting the technique though. You built the mound so that you can sort of spread it out, help develop its root system.
Really kind of make the asparagus roots get really spread out, really dense. You really kind of want it to form like a big fat mat right beneath the soil. Kind of like the fern... I'm drawing a blank.
It's fine.
Oldtimers. It's a lateral root. It's, I guess, like a rhizome.
Sure.
There's a technical word for it. I'm forgetting what it is. Don't put that on the video.
We'll just flash it on the screen.
Now this is a special type of asparagus that I have never tried before.
Do you remember what it's called?
I do remember what it's called, and I think it's kind of humorous considering who my cameraman is.
Okay.
This is millennial asparagus.
You motherfucker.
I'm not joking. I'm very serious. That's the name of this asparagus.
I love it.
The other type I've got is a Jersey Night, which I've had better luck with than Martha Washington. Okay, so now I'm just gonna put soil and fill it up. That really sucks.
All right, Hugh. Well, we'll see if that's successful.
All right, I'm just watering it all in right now and keep my fingers crossed. So hopefully at least 5 of them will survive. Now I've got to figure out what to do with the other 20 something. So
See you next time.
see you next time.